Good morning and welcome to the DK podcast with Kristi, Katrina, and Brenden Clark.
Morning, Brenden.
Good morning.
We're happy to have Brenden on here today because our podcast is about hope, resilience, recovery, and how to manage life through difficult moments and the lessons we get and the lessons we learn from each other in it.
Yeah.
And not like most people, but I met Brenden online as well. And looked at his story and I realized that his story touched my heart.
Mm.
And I just realized today, again, I'm going to say it's Devin inspired because I just learned this moment that he worked out one of the centers that Devin went to.
All the connections.
All the
We've had that
connections. I
happen
didn't
so
even
many
know that until
times.
this
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful to have you here. And I guess as moms, we just have questions that moms of children who have graduated, I always say graduated, have questions on, did we do enough? Could we have done enough? What did we do wrong? Was there something that I missed? But one of the things that I've said constantly throughout Devin's journey is I learned how to walk by my son by learning from others in recovery. And I guess we're all in recovery now a different way.
Yeah, we are.
So you want to tell a little bit about your story, about yourself, how it started, whatever. You share what you like.
Yeah, my name's Brenden Clark. I'm 39 years old. I'm from Ohio, a small city in Ohio called Warren. I grew up in the Warren Youngstown area. I had a decent life. Both parents were present in my life. They weren't together. I lived with my mom for the majority of my life, and I'd see my dad on weekends, summers, and I did spend time with him. So both parents were present. I went to school. My dad told me if I ever did anything in life to graduate high school. So, I made sure I did that. I did start getting into drinking and drugging around the age of 14. Started getting into my dad's liquor cabinet and smoking weed with friends, stuff like that. Anything to be accepted,
Yeah.
anything
The
that
friends. Yeah, with the
yeah,
friends. That was, yeah.
yeah, anything, to fit in, with what I thought at the time was, the
Yeah.
cool crowd, the
Yeah.
popular crowd. So
That's a subject that's come up a lot, just not feeling right. And whatever that becomes the thing that helps you feel okay or feel more comfortable in a situation with friends. And we're just trying to, like, along this journey as we come along and share our stories of our sons with other moms, because we saw that with our own boys too, just that feeling of, I know with Devin was bullied, and with Dylan was the opposite. It was more about just like the wrong crowd, and sort of just saying, I'm ready to kind of move on from this, and just going, and as it does, it takes over. It does it. The idea of running or outrunning is not a thing. It gets you when it's going to catches up.
Right.
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
does.
And so from 14 on with your parents, we talked a little bit before with that with your parents, it was, you were sort of just out of their sight in that time. It was like not, it was with your friends, and it wasn't a whole lot of like, let's get you to treatment. We were talking about that.
Yeah, no, treatment didn't come till later on in life. I would run with other kids and teenagers that were rebellious and not really doing the right thing either. But, we all went to school though. We all went to school and we tried our best. And it was around, the age of, I'd say 24 that I actually tried opiates and got hooked on them. And it started with prescription pain pills. It wasn't my prescription, but
Yeah.
they were bought off the streets. Started with Vicodin.
Yeah.
Did you
It's
go to
dark.
pill parties? Did they have that in Ohio or was that a California thing? What I'm talking about?
Yeah, it must be a California thing.
What parties?
Pill parties?
Pill parties. It's where kids would grab medicine from their families.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it was a California thing.
That's so dangerous.
So they
Yeah.
just grab whatever in their parents' cabinets and they just go into the house and dump them in a bowl. And then kids, as they come in, just pop pills.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the opiates being again, it's usually starts from either like you get an injury or you go to the doctor, and that's been a start for things. Dylan had,
Right.
broken bones from skateboarding, but it doesn't have to be. It can be just that like a friend gives it to you at that early stage. And it was Vicodin also for, just that like that feel of that. And, he liked and then didn't take him as, didn't, put it away, put that down, but it was the drinking that just was like the norm. It was like it was accepted, right? It was always going around. So it started then with a Vicodin, then for you, and then into the opioids.
Yes.
Yeah, just to kind of continue on with that. So with the Vicodin, were they then just getting them off of the street, or was that from friends that you were hanging out with, or?
So at the time, I had just gotten out of prison. I did 3 years for a burglary. I'll back up a little bit.
Yeah.
When I was 18, I broke into a house and tried to take something that wasn't mine. I was hanging out with a crowd who's really big into like B&Es, breaking into places and just stealing things. Um, so I had did 3 years for a burglary, and
Mm,
during those 3 years, I wasn't using. I had smoked pot once while in there, but my addiction hadn't, taken off just yet. So after I had gotten out of prison, I started working a job at like a sub shop, sandwich shop. I started hanging out with the old friends again, though, and one of my friends at the time sold a lot of weed and cocaine. And for a while, I was like middlemaning, getting people their drugs and
yeah.
middlemaning it.
Quotes. Yeah.
My friend at the time, he said, "Well, why don't you just take this and sell this and
Mm,
bring me the money back?" So I got involved in drug dealing again. And my second son's mom, I was with her at the time, and our son wasn't born yet. She wasn't pregnant with him just yet. She had told me, she said, "You should sell pills. That's where the money's at."
mm,
And I knew nothing about pills. I knew nothing about pain pills or opiates and prescription pills, anything like that. I knew not to mess with it. So yeah, I never indulged. I never really knew anything about it. And I got curious though. So I said, "Well, I don't know where to find any, come to find out, her family was like a pharmacy. They all had prescriptions, a couple of them. So I started buying prescriptions of Vicodin and selling them, and they started to go quicker than the weed or the
yeah.
coke or anything. And I got curious. I'm like, why do people like these so
Wow.
much?
Wow. Yeah.
So I took them.
That's an insight right there that, yeah, they were going quicker. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, also
Your
that.
body does. That's what happens.
Well,
So
you
it's like,
wake up
yeah.
an addict,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but you don't
Yes.
start that way.
So it actually took me a little while to like get physically addicted to it. I
Mm,
was doing it daily, and I had the ways and means to have them,
yeah.
but there came a day where I didn't have any and I started feeling
That's
rough.
when you knew. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at first I didn't know why.
Right.
And so for a while,
Like the flu.
yeah, oh, worse,
Like
like
I've got the
times
flu.
10. Oh my gosh. So a little bit of time goes by, and my son's mom says, she goes, "You'll be doing heroin soon." And I said, "Yeah, right. Why would I ever do that?" And she goes, "It's cheaper and it gets you higher and it's the same thing." And I was like, "What? Seriously?" And I was so sick at that point. I was just like, "All right, where do we find some?
Yeah.
Where do we get it?"
There's a saying that I've learned
Yeah.
is people don't use to feel good, they use so they don't feel sick.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. That's
definitely.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not using to get the high
Yeah.
anymore.
Once
They're
you're
using to stay well.
To stay well. I was just
to
about to
stay
say to
well.
stay well, yeah,
Yeah.
to function, be able to function.
So
I
many of
couldn't get
those,
out of bed.
yeah.
And that's the breaking the stigma, which I'm glad you're here
Yes.
because in going with Devin to different groups, that's what I learned. Because as a mom who didn't have any experience being around any of it, being able to hear it from other people helped
Right.
me understand
Right.
what
What they
he
were
was
suffering,
going
what they were
through,
going through.
Well, and sometimes when you're so close to the source, you can't hear it because I'm so busy trying
Just
to.
get well. Just be, fix this, be
And that's why
better.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad you're here because it's breaking the stigma
Yeah.
and wanting other people to hear, how can we help? What can
Yeah.
we do for that next generation? So your story is so important for the moms still in the struggle. To hear your truth, so I'm so grateful you can share it.
Kind of to segue into work because I was thinking about the connections that I know you have with Jeremy Kelsey now, and then
Yeah,
Alyssa's dad and Eric. Oh
Eric
gosh,
Kiddendorf and
yes,
Jeremy Kelsey, yes,
and the
those are my
work that they're just
guys.
pouring into just the love of first with Jeremy Kelsey making the videos that just so much love that takes to put out the story that these are stories. Our children's lives matter, and the stories of their passing and their lives up into and during and through the struggle. And this, with what we are speaking on, the fentanyl crisis, which is where we have no, like, the one pill, and the young person that just experiments and just is a young person, and they're gone in that life, and our hearts just shatter for every mother and father and sibling that experience that. And we're in this world that with all of the videos we watch ourselves, and have had people on, mothers that we share, that's their experience. Our experience is different with our son's journey, but I know your journey is also different with your sharing. And thank you so much for openly sharing, because it's understanding that it's like that, those steps. But it's like with the fentanyl crisis, it's just completely changed the layout of what the scene is now. It
Oh,
is
yeah,
like it's recover or die. I mean,
it is.
these stories are just going to continue, and we do know that it was, that it's the precursors and all the things, and they know exactly what they're doing. This is not a mistake. This was planned and put into action, and it is. I mean,
It is a weapon of
it
mass
is a weapon of
It
destruction.
mass
sure is.
destruction. It's
Yes,
like
It
the
definitely
is.
is.
And when Devin would get clean, because he would go in and out
Yeah.
of, he was a relapser. So he would go in and out of recovery. And I think breaking the stigma also, for me, I had to learn to understand it's not just you go to rehab, you get out.
No, yeah. It's
And
what do you
It's
do after
way beyond
rehab?
that.
it's
Yes,
It's
way,
way
yeah.
beyond that.
How do you live
but
when you're not in
it,
the comfort of rehab? That's
an early addiction, I had the false impression.
That rehab will fix you.
yeah,
That
I
30
did.
days in treatment will
yeah,
fix you. I've said recently that, like, we have to stop telling people, like,
yeah,
especially coming into treatment, that
yeah.
this thing is only 30 days.
No,
Hey, you're gonna stay 30 days and
yeah,
you're gonna be fixed. That's
yeah.
not how it
And that was
works.
so upsetting to my Dylan. I mean, again, our stories again different. We've shared that often. So Dylan did not do rehab. He wasn't what we'll call it a rehab all-star, because we just did your friend Keith's his book, which is not about being an all-star in rehab. It's about you don't want to be an all-star. You want to not go and go and go. But
Well,
they
and he
understand,
functions very
right?
well in rehab.
But
The work starts
right.
after.
So Dylan didn't stay. He didn't do the 30 days and didn't do the treatment or the IOP after. But it's so much more than that now that I can, but it is so much more. It's understanding again how the functioning of how just being around new people, everything changes. Your everything needs to change. The family dynamic and how we deal with the family member coming home, because they're no longer in that space. But it's like we still hold on to things too, and it's like there's so much work that needs to be done on that. But just to have you say that is so great to hear that you are saying that now, and rehabs are saying that. It's not just that was the lie I was being told. 30 days, if you can make it this, and again, it just wasn't
But I
the
think
right
some of
things.
that, and you can correct me, I think some of that is generational because when they're talking 30 days, we weren't dealing with fentanyl. We weren't dealing with heroin. In our growing up generation, it was
Yeah,
typically Coke and alcohol.
right,
Right. This is all news. So sorry to interrupt. Like,
No,
right.
yeah, we want
so
your opinion.
I feel like, fentanyl and heroin, maybe it was around, here and there, like when my parents, were my age. But we haven't heard about fentanyl and
Yeah,
like this generation,
y-
and it's taking us out. It's taking
yeah.
our people out.
And I wasn't even hearing about it when I would take, Dylan to get, when he would say, I'm ready, hands up, I'm ready to go. Like he surrendered, like in that moment. And the moment would go pretty quickly, but when that moment came, we were ready and let's get you there. But we weren't being told, look, maybe it wasn't, fentanyl wasn't being talked about then. So he did pass in 22. And that was the height of the fentanyl, like, the height of the passings, the
Mm.
transitions from fentanyl specifically. And I've delved into a lot of that, but I could see it coming just by, if I was to go back to how it could have gotten here and how it was going to happen like that because of just how wide open things were with, everything was going crazy, COVID, and how, I don't know, affected Dylan deeply, affected, so many people deeply. How did COVID for you? Were you in treatment at that point, or were you way after, or was this
I was in a psychiatric ward.
Okay,
okay?
so that's part
Okay.
of your story. That's share your story with us because the
Yeah.
most important part of your story is we do recover.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're here
And you're
to,
here,
yes.
and we're happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, when COVID hit, I remember I was in the psychiatric ward, detoxing, coming off of, fentanyl again. And yeah, it was a scary time. And getting out, with a couple weeks sober, with it out of my system, COVID or not,
Hmm.
I still went and chased it. Still
Hmm.
went and chased it. Still wasn't ready.
No. Yeah.
And this
Powerful
is the
stuff.
other thing that we've spoken about as parents watching our children who struggled at that time. During COVID, you were being given a lot of money, so it
Yeah,
made
it was like
it easier to have that addiction. True or false? Like the
not everyone was able to get access to that. So there was those that did like, that you applied for. So I'll just, there was an amount given if you had a last job and it fell into that category. So here, Dylan, in his case, would receive a check, and he was just like, Dylan didn't want free money, didn't like the idea of being on like state Medi-Cal or anything like that. So it was like, no, I don't want to have to pay that back. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is giving because you did have a job. Anyways, the money was coming and the addiction was there and it just fueled it. And so there was all these things that were just looking back, again, we will learn a lot from this time and be able to, I pray, not make these same mistakes, but it was like a what do they call that? The perfect storm. It was like people that were highly addicted coming out and leaving treatments because you had to be vaccinated perhaps, or the care was shut down, or places weren't opening up for beds because of the
AA
fear.
meetings were
AA
Yeah.
closed,
church
all
was
of it.
closed. So you had come out in COVID kind of out of detox and out of in a state of like, here I am, and then went right back to,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us your story. Tell us how'd you get here?
So let's see. I came out here in August of 2022. I had a friend who was out here. She was in treatment, and my story's a little different. I spoke to my friend, and I knew she was out here in treatment.
Yeah.
And she had said, my friend is doing policies. Do you want to come to treatment in California? And I only knew what two of those three things were:
Mhm.
treatment in California.
Okay.
And I didn't know what making policies went.
I
meant.
don't.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that
So
means.
I was set up with fraudulent insurance.
Did you go to
I went to a decent treatment center.
Did-
I
did
got
you-
I got the help that I
I
needed.
guess it's
Yeah.
did you go to CRLA?
No, I went to a place called Eagle Recovery. It's shut down now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So along that, so
So keep-
stay on that story. Sorry.
Yeah, but keep
Sorry.
going.
So
yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. I was set up with Oklahoma insurance. It said I was from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mm.
I had no idea what was going on. I
This is the
thought it was
truth. This
legal.
is
Yeah.
really what happens, and this is
Body
what
brokering.
body brokering. This is what
Devin
we
is-
are finding out now, and actually news is talking about finally,
Oh yeah, and it needs to be talked
and it needs to be
about,
talked. The
definitely.
fraud and the fraud that happened during COVID and the fraud that happened continuing needs to end.
It does. Here's the thing. It saved my life
Yes.
at that time,
Mhm.
at that point in time, right? But now I work in the field and I work in the industry, and it's caused so many problems.
Right,
This
'cause now the
insurance
people
has
that
caused
need it.
so many
Yeah.
problems for people. People are getting booted out, kicked out to the streets
Right.
with nowhere to go. Their insurance is cut off. They're not
Right.
even from out here. They're from Oklahoma, they're from Florida, or they're from a whole another state, but they were set up
Yeah.
with Florida insurance or something like
Right, and the
that.
billing is stopping. So what I'm understanding though, and what we do want to make sure happens, and we have, I mean, we just also get all to say, with Hopeaholics, and we know with Chad, I mean, he's fighting for his treatment centers have done so much good work and give scholarships. So the work that's being done, we just want we if the fraud can be cleared out. I mean, it will get sorted out, but these insurance companies need to honor, like, if you're in covered insurance and you're in your, no claim should be denied. This is life or death. Like,
Right.
you cannot be released.
And I'm glad it saved you.
Yes.
Because it's part of your story.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have that insurance anymore. I haven't had it for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
But what I'm saying is that your recovery story is
Yes.
for you to use your voice.
And that's really interesting too, because that kind of how it does circle around. Like we only can do now what we didn't know then with what we're in help other moms, and and we hope that it does. We hope that sharing our stories, and it's not easy to do again and again, but we do, as long as we do get the messages which continue to come through, that we are helping and reaching those with resources and information. But you want to have vetted rehabs. You want to make sure that you are reaching out to quality sources, and those sources are available now. But they really weren't for me. I was just sort of like calling like his insurance and then calling random, and then it wasn't like I didn't have a whole lot of tools at my hands, and now there is, and it's just really, it's like you just said, you went in with this kind of fraudulent thing coming out now in recovery. Now what needs to happen.
But you also heard him say that you only knew California,
Right.
California and treatment, right?
Out of
Yeah.
those three things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening is those, including parents that were desperate for recovery, were believing
Anything. You believe anything as a parent.
anything,
Yeah.
including you seeking treatment. So from there, go ahead. Keep going with your story.
Yeah. So I jumped on the phone with some guy I didn't know from Adam and gave him a whole bunch of sensitive personal information, my social security number, all that, and was set up with insurance. And I was on a plane 2 weeks later. I came out. I still came out somewhat closed-minded. I still wasn't fully open-minded to like real recovery at the time, but I still had that mustard seed of faith. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it takes. That's all
Mhm.
it takes. Mustard seed of faith.
So I came out, and I came out with the mindset that I was only going to do like 30 days and go home, right? So in these 30 days, they took us to meetings, and I've always known what to do. You got to talk to people, introduce yourself, get phone numbers, and especially, the ones that you hear share their story, thank them for their story, exchange phone numbers, and you got to put yourself out there a little bit.
So you weren't like walls up. You came in open.
Yeah, I was still like half serious about it. I was like, I know what to do, so I'm going to do some of these things right now.
You knew what to do.
Yeah.
To make it happen in that moment.
I told myself, like, just in case I stay out here, I'm going to get this guy's phone number. It
Just in
doesn't hurt to
case.
make those connections.
Yeah.
And a few weeks into treatment, they brought up sober living, and I was like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. Let me give this sober living a shot.
Yeah. It takes that moment. Yeah.
So I did, and I'm glad I did, because anytime that I had left treatment and went home, I would relapse.
That's powerful. That's huge.
Without
right there.
continuing
That's
care,
huge,
I
yes.
always relapsed.
I just want those words to be said again. Without continuing care, the relapse is there, and it's
It can be.
triggering. Without the continued care. Yeah, the follow-up. Continue. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, I came out here for recovery. Like I said, I was only really half serious about it, but I did some real heavy meditating and praying, and I decided that I was gonna do the things suggested to me because I really wanted it. I had been to Florida twice for treatment, and I had left both times. I would AMA, go back home, and straight back to getting high, and because I wasn't ready. This time I feel like I told myself I'm not getting any younger. I'm tired of disappointing people. I'm tired of disappointing my mother, my kids. I'm tired of sitting on mom's couch and doing nothing with my life. So I told myself that it was time to do something, and I had to find purpose. I had to find purpose for myself. I feel like without purpose, this isn't possible. I needed to believe in myself. I needed to know that I have purpose. and that I could live a life of sobriety and recovery and live a life worth living.
And my
Absolutely.
story is still dumb, and I'm so proud of you, but I am.
That's
Yeah.
important. That's
Yeah.
very important.
He didn't
Yeah.
always like it when I told him I was proud of him.
Well, he wasn't probably
Well,
at that moment feeling proud of himself, and that's that inner that
that
dialogue too.
enters,
And
and that's where we talk about
yeah,
giving yourself grace.
yeah,
And was the struggle of you learning to forgive yourself harder than I'm trying to use my words, but putting down the substance is one thing. Coming out and not grabbing for the substance when you're feeling hard on yourself is part of the struggle of relapse, right? And so it's giving yourself the grace and knowing how to grieve the disappointments you had within yourself.
yeah. You meant
Yes.
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
There was a time where I told myself that I was gonna die like that. I accepted it. I accepted that I was gonna die a fentanyl addict, and I was okay with it. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I also want to say that, you know, I don't want you guys to be hard on yourself because, in my addiction, my mother showed me so much love, so much love. And, sometimes like you can be shown all the love in the world. And
Yeah.
if you're just not ready,
If
it's,
love could
yeah,
love could heal it.
my mother's always shown me unconditional love and supported my recovery and my addiction. She would always support me trying to get sober, and she always gave me a place to sleep until she didn't. There
Right.
there was a point in my addiction where she didn't want me around.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
she did not want me
That's
around.
important
Because
to
it becomes
acknowledge
dangerous
too.
sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's
The
younger kids
illness.
in the house, or if you had your children that you had, so two children at this point when you were, or you, is that eventual? Like when because your purpose feels like you have two kids, right?
I have three.
Three
Yeah, I
kids.
have three
And so
children.
at that time when you said you'd come out, it sounded like a recovery with two kids to purpose and faith, and that those three things, the purpose, but because we could you just went into like, as a mother, like again, that means so much. Thank you for saying that, yes, because there is no question. There's no question mark. We could like say 1,000 times or, write it a million different ways that the love for our boys was still, this is what it still is right now. This is it. We're trying to use their stories to just to save another for their, how much we love them, and we'll always want to honor their lives and know that this was a painful journey for them. But having children doesn't save it for a mother or father. That doesn't always isn't the way. Like you'd think, well, why does a parent not do it for their children? Is the addiction is way too strong and too cunning and baffling and powerful, for doesn't discriminate, doesn't matter what money or rehab it is, until you put it down, until you surrender. And I have come
And get the right
truly
support around.
in
Yeah.
going backwards moments. I can go back into you didn't do that right. You didn't do, but I know that's not the truth. I know that there was the love it wasn't about that. It was about him putting it down and him surrendering, and God and faith if that's a huge component. I think one of the strongest, if whatever that looks like for someone to their higher power, but faith is carrying me in grief. And I would talk to him often of that, you could put it down right now and lay it down, give it to God, and he'll walk with you. And it's like, then you wouldn't have to go to treatment. I would say, like,
But
let's try another route.
the examples you're showing your children now are remarkable.
Oh yeah.
The lessons you give your children are those resilience, recovery, doing hard things even when you don't want to,
Exactly.
and reaching out for those lifelines when you need it.
Yeah.
And they know that they can find that in you because that example you're showing. And you've shown that in many ways to different people in different forms, and how much you have a story where you've helped other families recover, other parents recover. And with sharing the most painful parts of your own journey, people have resonated with that, and they got clean for their own children.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
If
You
you
had
want
shared
to.
that. If you
Yeah, we
feel up
can.
to that people have reached out to you, they've reached out to us, and as mothers in different ways for you, the things that you've shared. I understand that you have had that that gift of knowing that what you've shared has helped someone else.
That's remarkable.
Yeah. It's
Okay, so
powerful.
go ahead. Yeah, so in 2016, like I had mentioned earlier, my first child's mother, my son's mother, had gotten out of jail. She had told me she was 30 days sober, and I was around 90 days sober at that time. And I was like, that's awesome. That's great. I love that. Like, stay sober because people are out here dying. And I want to say it was maybe 3 days later, she was found in a hotel, passed from fentanyl poisoning.
So sorry. So sorry that you have the story with your son. And
Yeah, so I had to figure out how I was gonna tell my son, and I had this weird idea for awareness to record it and me telling him that she passed and he had asked how, and I was honest. I said from drugs.
yes.
And I did ask him, he was 8 years old at the time. He was young, but I asked him, I said, is it okay if I post this because this might help somebody one day? And he said, yeah. And I posted it and I had no idea it would go as viral as it did, but it went worldwide and I started getting messages from
Not
people.
all good, right? No.
Yeah, no, not
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah, not all like,
Yeah, it was definitely controversial.
yeah.
I had gotten a lot of messages saying that it had either helped them or someone they know, their daughter or son, or I've gotten I've gotten quite a few of those messages.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a lot of negative comments, people who didn't agree with it,
Can't
but
concept what you were trying again with the attentive, or maybe they're not dealing with anything like that and they're just on that and they really have no space there
But
to be, but their
it's so
opinion.
brave
Yeah.
breaking the stigma and recovering out
Yeah.
loud.
Because the
And
truth is that's what happened. If it had been a car accident, if it had been, it's just really
pain.
the painful, shocking shock and awe sometimes is what it takes to wake other people up. Your son and how you walk with him through that grief, which he will be in as we are with our journey with grief. Grief doesn't end.
mhm,
It's a unfolding and it's there, you go the waves that come, but as we share with other people in the community, we realize we're not alone. Your son will be able to in his life, his journey without his mother, who is he can understand the deep pain she was in, that this wasn't something she would have ever in her right mind done to hurt him, leave him, but it did, and it does. And these are my father also was and how addiction does go in through and can skip through, and as it does with families. But with my dad, it is a very, very painful journey to have an addicted parent, and then it's just he spoke really openly about it with me, and looking back now, I was really like, I wasn't, like, naive to things. He would tell me, the reasons why and what so I was really aware of things, and I did really believe then, like, skipping forward to with my son, I did believe because it was such an open conversation about we talked openly about things, wasn't like, like I said, he was a skateboarder and the sort of things just that's the weed was earlier on, it was like he would grow out of it. In my mind, it would be like because we were talking so openly about things that it would be like he would grow out of it. And fentanyl just was never in my concept. It wasn't the idea that that it is, and I know now that people develop like that's their next drug. Dylan was poisoned. This was a poisoning for him and so many others, but it's poison just period. Lethal amount of it, regardless of that, it's so addictive that it's just poison in that it's taking over lives.
But one of the things that I found so heart touching with your story
Yeah.
is your rawness
Yeah.
and your authenticity. How do you say that word?
Yeah. Exactly.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
You're so real. You're so real in sharing your pain and in sharing your recovery and sharing the good, bad, and the ugly. And if you look at Brendan's, you will see
Mhm.
your heart is golden.
Yeah.
try.
Yeah,
I found that to be
you
so,
do.
so, so
You're
much in this
doing.
community, right? There's so much love in this community of like
So much
recovery.
love.
And
Yeah.
when
And
you reach
six
out and you take that hand, and those for those that are, with trying to get their loved one to that point, their son or daughter or, spouse, it is like take the hand. That's the missing component. Like, oh, there's doors that say come in and walk through. The help is there. You gotta just put it down.
well, that naive part of me used it's almost embarrassing to say, but the naive part of me used to think that success came in dollar signs behind titles, money, comes in kindness.
There's
It
all
comes
the
in
yeah.
kindness. It
Yes,
comes
it
And
has.
in reaching your hand out. It comes in saying, I've got you.
yeah.
We're not doing this
I've walked this
alone.
before. Let's walk it together. I can
We're
show you
walking
how.
each other home.
Mm,
Walk with me.
yeah.
The best people I know are those in recovery.
Yeah.
That's how I got to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here without the help of others.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And there's no coincidences. I found too that we've met so many people along this journey that have helped us along in our way and our grief and that process. Other moms, just in developing this, sharing the story out loud as we do. But with you having it be, like you said, now you're with other, like with Jeremy and Eric, and having that be where the story can be.
Doing hard work to
Yes.
save the next generation.
Yeah.
And maybe our walks in life are a little bit heavier because with you working in the recovery community, it's heavy. And you started a nonprofit. You want to talk about what you do
Yeah.
through outreach? Oh my gosh, it touches my heart.
yeah, sure. So did start my own outreach company, Time to Go Recovery, and we are in the development stages of starting a 501c3.
Time to go.
It's
Time
time to
time to
go.
go.
Yeah.
What do you do? You go to
We take Narcan, food, water, supplies. I've got some tents and sleeping bags at my place right now, first aid kits, socks. We have some clothes. We're gathering a bunch of supplies.
Mhm.
We've done a few missions so far. We've been to MacArthur Park twice,
Okay. They
Hollywood
just did that
once.
big bus there. They just had
Yeah,
that.
and I was right down the street from that
Wow.
in Skid Row
Wow.
doing an
To
interview with
see those
somebody.
on
you
news, I
and
mean,
Right
have it
down the
be
street,
like
yeah.
I'm like, it's happening. Like it's finally
but
happening to
he's
see
Thank
news.
walking.
God, though,
Yes,
Yeah.
thank
yes,
God.
yes.
You're walking into the fire where so easily people
Oh,
step
yeah.
over it or around it
People
Yes.
die out there
Oh,
too.
because and it
yes.
makes them uncomfortable to think that won't happen to my family. It can.
Yeah.
But if people are out there stuck in MacArthur Park with no
Yeah.
resources, how are they ever gonna know
Right.
that
They're
there's help
not.
out there?
Right.
It's going to take, like, people like us
Mhm.
to get out there and take these things out, take these
Right.
resources out.
Right.
Here's some Narcan.
I
It's here
recovered
when
or,
you're ready.
hearing from you recovered and those are the faces with the, it's not just me telling you or like like someone going by that's never done drugs has no do this. It's you've recovered and this is how you've done it and you're showing it. It's an option. There's an opportunity. I'm seeing so many of those there's so many different podcasts, I won't name them, but just that are going into the streets to doing that and then showing that. And there was that like, why are you filming it? You shouldn't be showing it. Like, because it's showing
It's
them,
real.
getting them off of like the hand that takes them from the street to the rehab to get them where they are. You can see it in their face that they feel hope.
So the success comes from that golden heart that I talk about.
Yeah.
Don't show me
Yeah.
your Mercedes and walk over the person
Mm.
who needs your help the most.
Oh
I'd
yeah.
rather see
We're in such different,
I'd rather see the
elements from
hand
people.
being
Yeah.
reached out to those
Yeah.
because
So
w-
where can the donations go to? This is
this is you're currently
your
doing it. Do you have a next one set up?
Yeah, we have a mission coming up. I was trying to do it at the end of this month, but with people's schedules and stuff, we're gonna do it the first week of this coming month
Are you
of
taking
June.
volunteers then for the mission of going into the park or going where you donating?
Probably gonna do it in either Skid Row or MacArthur Park
Okay.
again. Yeah, we're still collecting donations. People are still sending donations. I do have a Zelle tag. Zelle just started like Zelle tags,
Mhm.
and it's at Time to Go Recovery.
And time to go recovery. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also have a Cash App. It's Luigi TTG.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
And make a little tag on that, hopefully for that. But yeah,
yeah.
look at that.
So that's how we're taking donations right now. I plan on dropping a date and location and specific time for people to meet up and get involved because I've gotten so many
Yeah,
messages from people
yeah,
just wanting to get involved, whether
yeah.
it's just showing up and helping pass things out. Like I've gotten so many messages from
Mhm.
people just wanting to get involved and
Yeah.
give back and I love it and it like
That's what we're
touches my
seeing.
heart.
That's what
Yeah.
we're seeing. One of the first moms that we had on podcast here was, with, and her son, Dom, beautiful Dom, his passing date. So their Love is Free Foundation, and she goes to the parks where he often would be unhoused at the time in use and, go and give out care packages. We've done that a couple times. We've both done it different times. Couldn't be together, but there's so much like, and to see people show up and do that and just see the need, and then it just keeps, it's just like a trickle. It's like goes on, it's like hand to hand goes on, but seeing the people now coming out more and like seeing the need and coming out is showing up is where we're at in this time. Yeah,
And they're so grateful. Like,
yeah,
so your experiences when you're down there handing out the care package,
yeah,
aren't they so well received?
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
yes, people are actually so nice out there and the gratitude they have is yeah, it's great. These are people that like have nothing doing the same thing
right,
for, a couple weeks, few
yep,
weeks. They haven't eaten in days
yeah.
because they're in psychosis and they're just not even hungry. And bring some sandwiches out and they're like, "Oh, I get a couple of those." And
Have
of
you,
course you can.
come across, and yeah, the face that's like, "I'm ready." Is there a place to take them? Or you, if that face is there and they wanna get off that street. Is there?
Yeah, there's always resources. It also depends on the insurance.
Mhm.
I've been having trouble with people not having any insurance lately, and there is like emergency medical you can get on. But even then, there's places that you have to call, and there's usually a waiting
No,
list,
wait, for
especially the
bet,
medical
yeah.
places. Yeah, places like Tarzana, Cry Help. There's a couple.
Yeah, yeah, I've had experience with both, and with that, that was one of my early, like, like, if I could have like a wish list. I mean, having it be where seeing people going to the parks and going to the spaces of needs, going to the places of need, period. But like a detox, and especially like in an area where we live, just there should be a detox for, in my mind. I mean, I don't know how it would all be worked out, but the of immediate need detox, so there isn't that reach for that fake pill for that, that one person's already had that feeling and they go for that fake pill. They can go in without questions asked. You don't need to have they're already searching for something. They can go in. They should be at every space where there's like it would take, just volunteers to do that, to hand out enough to get them to the right place, right? So they're
Exactly.
not taking poison from someone that doesn't know what's in the pill.
And
You know?
is part of your time to go recovery, does it help with your recovery? Like in the 12 steps, we're
Mm,
supposed to go back and help
your
those.
service, yeah,
So
Yeah, it is service work. It's a part of giving back. I don't make it my full recovery, but it definitely helps, It definitely
right.
yeah.
does help. I love it.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean,
And I know that there's many different pathways to recovery. I don't know if 12 step was your way, but I do know that the basic principles of the 12 steps only help life.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Only help life.
I got sober through Narcotics Anonymous,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
worked some steps
Mm-hmm.
and, going to meetings. Now I'd say it's mainly my faith, God, church. I still attend meetings, I still go to meetings with people and, share sometimes and just connect with all my recovered people. We just what the other day my buddy spoke and then we went out for a burger afterwards, after the meeting. It's
Yeah,
connections
yeah,
and stuff like
absolutely.
that.
But they say the isolation is
Connection is the
connection. It's the opposite
Yeah,
of
of
isolation.
addiction.
I get high, but we recover.
Yeah, all
I
these,
understand that.
yeah,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah. There is so much power in being of service, and I also feel that too. It takes away. It helps. I can feel it helping heal. I can feel. It's definitely where the walk is, where I'm meant to be right now, and I've always felt like, when it's time to step away, when we're not, it doesn't, we'll know when that time's right. But for now, for grief takes recovery too. It's an active thing. I started Al-Anon really just so I could
Good for
deeply
you.
understand. it's almost 4 years with going, and I take breaks, but it's understanding that writing in that book, even for myself, just to understand the disease of addiction, the pain it causes the individual, the journey for my son and for all those to know I'm not alone. That room lets you really clearly know that. Like it is
Mhm.
just so so many people, so not alone.
Well, and if you
But
are struggling even now with a spouse, a child, a loved one in addiction, I know sometimes in Devon's hardest times when I couldn't reach him, I had to find a meeting for myself to listen to somebody else's story because I learned through them. And so when I can't do it alone, and I still can't do it alone sometimes, it's the reaching out to other people. And that's, I think, what's important
yeah,
is knowing even if you think you know, or or
yeah.
you don't know,
And it's
sometimes
yeah.
you don't know what you need to know.
Yeah,
Right.
and we've said this many times, like, it can be like, we have met mothers that have written books or they have found, like, they've done a podcast or their foundation, which that, like the Love is Free, where they have found their way to turn their pain into purpose. But, so, and then yours with the nonprofit and that way of just that is, and so everyone finds that, but it's so important. And I mean, I think that that's why we found it. Not everyone will fit that. That's, they'll breathe in different ways or they'll breathe more quietly, but that's my personality, and we met in that way that we were like, it was like that was like that mirror of like, okay, it was like I was like, I did this wrong. She's like, nope, we stayed married. I did this wrong. Nope, we didn't. He still passed. The ways of the wise, it still ends to the same place, not the wrong place, the same place if you don't reach out and get the recovery.
Even reading helped with your video. All the
Yeah.
negative ones
Yeah.
I see. I just
Yeah,
see
I
all I
block out the
just
negativity because of the keyboard warriors, right? And I've had those, but what we're talking about now is how
the
you can and
strength
you
you gave to other
reposted, as
people.
I understand, reposted to let it be where it was like you didn't take it down, you kept it going, and you've got a lot of, and I've seen that just the
How
support
many
of that.
people you've helped.
Yeah, don't give up, Brandon is what I was read. I think the last one, like don't they didn't get to you, don't give up.
Yeah, I just look at it as, as long as it helped one person,
That's right.
it was worth it.
That's
It's
right.
that ripple effect.
I mean, again, I don't know the circumstances exactly with my Dylan, and but I do know that if that's the one person that could have been, he would have been the one person that would have. Sorry, he would have had he had like something like had he known about having Narcanum or something, he would have been the person to do that, and he would have not for anybody. And yeah, I don't know why the whys and the what ifs. Don't live in that. Don't live in that. But in the action, be in the action and be in the going forward. And we do know now. We know that I carry Narcan in my car.
Yeah.
I carry it in my purse. I have given it out. We support all of the beautiful, beautiful people that have recovered. Recovery is just a gift. And I feel like our boys. We do. We often say we're there. They're like we hear them like they're like yeah, like it's they kind of bring us together with the. It's like a it's a
I think
it's
Devon's
an
like, "This is
invisible
important,
tribe.
mom.
It's like an
Reach out."
it's like an invisible tribe now that is really just like they're kind of intertwining us, and I just believe that's that's more hopeful to feel that. That's what and I know faith is for me, like, that God is right with our stories and our journeys are what they are meant to be. And you are recovered for a reason, a purpose. And
We honor that.
we're just really, really grateful that you took the time to come on and talk with us today. And we can
Appreciate
learn
it.
about your nonprofit and what you're doing. And
It's
you'll be
amazing.
seeing our faces down there, I'm sure. And and we'll be posting about that with just
There any
however we can get people down there.
Is there
Yeah.
anything you wanna share? Any last words? Anything you wanna say? Because there's moms that are watching, there's
Mm,
dads that are watching. Maybe there might even be youth that are watching you right now.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, there's not just one way to recover. There's many ways to recover. Please find purpose. Please get help if you're struggling. And we do recover. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you for having me. And
Our pleasure. And recover
so
out
grateful.
loud. Recover
Yes,
out
recover
loud.
out loud also.
Don't let
Share your
anyone
story.
shame. Your story is
Never.
your journey, and someone will learn something from it. And we're better together, is what I always like to say.
We
We're
are
better
Amen.
better
together.
together.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
We'll be
Thank you.
talking soon.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Well, you'll have to take this live and go down to how we are. We can show up
Yeah,
at
we
one of the
can.
locations. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming, Brandon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.